Good morning, I'm Maria from the Richardson Simple Living. It's Friday, so we're down to do another vlog. I thought we'd have a look through the science book today. I've got 3 more books left to show you, and that was the science, the geography and the history. So I thought we'd just have a page by page flick through the science book today, so you can see what's in it and what it's like really. I mean, they basically follow the same pattern because it's a Collins one. They all follow the same sort of pattern, but you can see what subjects it covers inside the book. So we'll have a look at that and you can see what you think. So as you can see, it's Key Stage 3 Science, it's revision guide. I bought this one because we did have a Collins Year 7 one to begin with, and it was really difficult and there was no write-up to tell you anything about each topic. And so I went to buy a workbook, or not a workbook, like a revision book to correspond with it, but I couldn't find one anywhere. All I found was this revision guide. So I thought, oh, maybe that was it. So I bought this, but it wasn't. It's something totally different. And to be honest, we like this one better. We get on with this one better. I mean, Sean isn't really into science. She's not a big science fan, but she does work with this book much better. So I thought we'll just have a flick through and you can see what it's like. It tells you like all the sections there that it covers. So we'll start off. It has cells, the building blocks of life, and it follows the same format as all the others do, with your quick test questions at the end. And then Sean writes it into a little book, one of those nice coloured little books that we bought in the summer. So little exercise book, she writes the answers in there. And it has a part 2 as well, cells, the building blocks of life. So again, it follows on and it has quick test questions at the end. Also, like I said before, to remember to read the key points, because sometimes your answers are in your key points. So, next part is eating, drinking and breathing, with your quick test at the end. And there's a section 2 of eating, drinking and breathing, which follows the same format. In fact, I think, haven't you done this one this week, Sean? No, not this week, was it?
No.
Seem to recognise that picture.
Review questions.
Oh, yes, Sean, review questions, yeah. Which was what we come into. So it's like a couple of modules, and it comes to review questions. Now, this very first one followed Key Stage 2. So that was a bit of a mystery because obviously we didn't do the Key Stage 2 one, so we worked through it. And then it went into practice questions, which actually did correspond with what Sean's been learning, as you can see. That's where I got it from. She did it on Monday, the 4th. That's where I remember the picture from, Sean, it's there. So yeah. As you can see, each one, like cells, building blocks of life, the next questions cover eating, drinking and breathing. And like I say, with these, anything I'm not keen on is the fact it doesn't give you room to write it into this book. You thought they'd have some pages where you could write it. So we just used the exercise book. So then she'll be going on to getting the energy your body needs. It has your quick test questions and another section on getting the energy your body needs. So normally what she does when she does a science lesson, she'll do like the first page, well, the first section, getting the energy your body needs, she'd do all that, do a quick test, and then she'll flick over to the second part of it, which is the same. Do that and the quick test at the end. So she'll do the 2 pages as one lesson. It also covers looking at plants and ecosystems, which is something important for science, and learning how the plants grow and that. And again, there's a part 2 of it, looking at plants and ecosystems. So this will be a good one for Sean to do. Again, we have the quick tests at the end. Then it goes on to review questions. So you're reviewing then the cells, the building blocks of life. See, some places you've got room to write in, but others where they ask the questions they haven't, which I was a bit surprised at really. Then there's an eating, drinking and breathing, and you review all that. Then practice questions. So getting the energy your body needs. And looking at plants and ecosystems, it covers that. Then you go on to more sections. We've got variation for survival and test questions. And again, variation for survival. I like how the book's laid out actually, where it tells you all about it. So you can discuss things, you can look up anything extra if you want to by Googling something or what have you. And then I like how it does a quick test at the end where you can go through it. So you can really get into it if you want to, or if you're not that keen, you can just do what's here. Our health and the effects of drugs. And then we've got questions. And again, our health and the effects of drugs. See, some sections you'd get into more than other sections. You talk about more. And then we're back to review questions, getting the energy your body needs. Oh, it seems to have some space there for writing. And that seems to be a bit bigger one. Then looking at plants and ecosystems. There. Oh, pages stick together. Then we're on to the practice questions, variation for survival. And our health and the effects of drugs. So it's like starter sections halfway through there. Sean's having to chase the dog and the cat, split them up. One's chasing the other. So we go on to mixing, dissolving and separating. Now these are the sort of things Sean isn't interested in, this sort of thing.
What is it?
Mixing, dissolving and separating.
That's boring.
Boring, yeah. Sean's there doing her work. She's working on the English book today. I think we showed you that one the other day. Sean's busy doing that. So yeah, again, mixing, dissolving and separating. So all we'll do on this is probably just read what's in here and answer the questions it gives us. We're not really likely to go into that one too much. Elements, compounds and reactions. This really isn't Sean's sort of thing. But if you're following the curriculum with the intentions of doing GCSEs and everything, then obviously you would probably go into that more. Elements, compounds and reactions. And the test questions. Pages just stick. Then the review questions on variation for survival and our health and the effects of drugs. I don't know what Sean's laughing at in the corner. Practice questions, mixing, dissolving and separating. Elements, compounds and reactions. Then we go back into the modules of explaining physical changes and a quick test at the end. And again, explaining physical changes. See, Sean isn't really interested in any of this sort of thing. Oh, we've got explaining chemical changes now. And explaining chemical changes again. Without questions. Then on to the review questions of mixing, dissolving and separating. And elements, compounds and reactions. Then the practice questions of explaining physical changes, explaining chemical changes. Actually, while I'm on this page, I'll just show you something. It always mixes Sean up and makes me think because this book has got a flaw. The word practice there, that to me is correct. But then at the top corner, they've got it with the S. So if you see over there with the C, which is how I write it, and it's got it with the S there. And on every practice questions page, they've done that. I don't know why. Well, it always muddles Sean as to which one's right. So here we've got obtaining useful materials. And with our questions. Obtaining useful materials again. Using our earth sustainably. Questions at the end. And again, using our earth sustainably. Back to review questions of explaining physical changes and explaining chemical changes. Practice questions, obtaining useful materials and using our earth sustainably. And I bet you've all had a look now in the corners where it says practice to see if this is the same as I just said, different. It'll draw your eyes to it now. I've told you about it, that's where you'll be looking. Forces and their effects. Here's the next section with their quick test questions. And again, forces and their effects. Exploring contact and non-contact forces. That'd be magnets. Did an experiment on that once with magnets, ended up trapping my finger, and that hurt. It gives you blood blisters. So we've got exploring contact and non-contact forces. Oh, I seem to only have one of them. Review questions, obtaining useful materials and using our earth sustainably. The practice questions of forces and their effects and exploring contact and non-contact forces. Next section, motion on earth and in space. Again, second part of it, motion on earth and in space. It's quite a good book, there's quite a lot of pages. Keep Sean going. We might be still doing this in year 9, I don't know. Energy transfers and sound. Still got the quick test at the end. Energy transfers and sound again. Then we're on to the review questions of forces and their effects and exploring contact and non-contact forces. Practice questions are motion on earth and in space and energy transfers and sound. Then we go on to magnetism and electricity. And again, magnetism and electricity. Waves and energy transfer. Again, waves and energy transfer. Then our review questions of motion on earth and in space and energy transfers and sound. Our practice questions are magnetism and electricity and waves and energy transfer. Oh, we've got some more review questions again following it. Magnetism and electricity and waves and energy transfer. Then we go into mixed style questions then. So it's just all different things mixed up where you'll just have to look through the book to find the subjects it's talking about, to have a read through again, I can't turn the pages, to find the answers. This section's quite good, the mixed style ones, because you've got the space to actually write your answers down and not like before. So yeah, it's all mixed style then, which is good because you go back and review what you've read. sort of sounds it down a bit, I suppose. And that's it. It's got a periodic table at the end. Not that that means anything to me or Sean, but we have looked at it quite a few times. And you've got the answers as well at the back. There's all the answers, which is useful. So yeah, that's the science book. It's quite a good book, actually. If you're into science and you're doing science, it's really good. Like I say, you can read each of the sections and you can go into it more. I find we've used a lot of BBC Bite Size, I think it's called. We've looked up a lot of the BBC Bite Size for science, especially last year when we only had the Year 7 book and we didn't have another book to go from to read through. We went to the BBC Bite Size and looked on there, and they do a lot of things on there, lots of different things. So yeah, you can go into these topics as deep as you want, or not if you don't want to. I mean, science, Sean mainly just reads through and does it. She's not into science, and she's not intended to do GCSEs, I get my words right, on it. So she's not too bothered. And the same with the English book she's doing at the moment. There's a lot of going on behind you. I always get mixed up where she is in relation to where I am doing this. But yeah, she's smiling at me now. Yeah, she's not so keen on the English book either, and she's definitely not doing the Shakespeare like I've said before, but she's not so keen on that. But come next year, we'll devise some new things once all the books finished. We've said we'll carry on through them because they're not the worst books in the world. From Sean's point of view, this is, I mean, they're brilliant books if you are following them, if it's your kind of subject. Everyone's different. We all like different subjects, every person, don't we? And your children certainly do. What one person's interested in, another isn't. So yeah, they're great books for that, picking the book out that your child is interested in. Or if you wanted to do your GCSEs, they're great for that. You probably have to double check though if there's other subjects that the schools are covering as well in that curriculum, because like I said, when I had a quick look at the GCSE history books, I noted it was a GCP one, or is it CGP, one of the way around, and a Collins one. And although they were pretty much the same format, one had medicine through the ages and the other one had crime and punishment, but each didn't have the other. And I thought, oh, I didn't realise that. That's something to look for, because I'm telling you about these great books, but I think you need to be aware, just check if you are using them with the intentions of doing GCSEs at the end of it all, then, you know, do compare it with other books as well, and to make sure you're not missing out. Or if you know, you can find out what's on the curriculum or what they actually are studying to get a full list, so you know you've got the right work to go with it. So yeah, that's a quick look. Well, it's a quick look. It's not that quick. It's quite long, isn't it? Going through the science book. So I've only got the geography one to show you and the history one to show you now. The other thing with this science book as well, I'll say, it doesn't have the workbook at the end. It's just, like I showed you, straightforward questions, and it goes into the mixed questions, and that's it. But the other books I've shown you so far with Collins come to your mixed questions, answers, index, etc. Then it starts a new book. There's a workbook in with it as well, but this one doesn't have it. It's just simply, well, it just says revision book, which is what threw me, because I thought it was the reading part of the other ones, which it isn't, because it's like a book on its own. But yeah, it hasn't got the workbook in the back, so be aware of that if you want one with the workbook in the back. So yeah, so that's it for today. I'll come back now Tuesday. I resist saying Monday because I don't know why I always want to say Monday, but I'll be back on Tuesday, and we'll perhaps just have a chat on Tuesday about different things, and I'll tell you what all the things that I use as well aside from the workbooks. I'll tell you what else we do or we have used, etc. There's not a great deal of things. I don't have a big variety of places I go to for work. I tend to stick to a few things, and that gives us what we need. But I'll have a chat about it anyway on Tuesday. So until then, Have a good weekend and take care, everybody. Bye.